Hey, everybody, good evening. We're live again. Hopefully, you can hear the music playing. Last time I didn't have it going, so we're going to do some housekeeping real quick and make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to be. Bear with me one moment. Okay, we're live. No, no, I didn't hear any music coming through. So again, my music's not working. I don't know what's going on with that. Um, I don't know what's up with that. So we'll just go ahead and roll with it. But anyways, welcome again back to another Monday Live, guys. It's good to see you all again. So we're going to cover a few things tonight. The first one, let's dive into the Sony Alpha rumors and go through that, and then we're going to look at what's new in Sony CES and see what Sony's got to offer for CES. if you're uh, if you're joining us, hit me up in the comments there and let me know you're here and where you're from, what you're shooting, that kind of stuff, if you want to share that. And let's go ahead and dive into this here real quick. Go ahead and share this screen here. Present this here. Where are we at? Present, share screen. Right. And again, we got stupid ads. Try to keep these at a minimum for you guys. Don't need to be bothered with that. So, now it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on, so I'm gonna dive back a few pages. We're gonna work our way forward. So let's start at the bottom here. Uh, let's see here where we go. All right, let's just start right about here because if anything else, it's probably not new enough for me to bother with. Sony A9III speed will be worth the image quality trade-off. Petapixel. All right. Just announced new 11mm f1.8 lens with wireless controller. Well, that's interesting. So this lens looks suspiciously like it's got Sony parts on it. That aperture ring and the button look very, very Sony-like. So if this is an E-mount lens, let's see. Yeah, remote control additional device. Pre-orders will open soon. This is an interesting thing here. I'm finding this. So I'm guessing you can focus pull with it. That'd be cool. I wonder what the price is. Doesn't say anything about the price. So 248. Man, that might be worth trying out. I need an 11mm. I'm assuming it's APS-C. Lens. Just says E mount. Yeah, so it's probably APS-C. Uh, that sounds like something I'd be very interested in trying out. If you want to shoot me one, I'll give it a shot. A9III sensor testing by Gerald and Dunn. Best body somebody ever made. You can increase the dynamic range. Let's move past. We're going to get to CES. A couple thoughts and content there for CES. So we'll get back to that stuff. Price allow a 10mm f2.8 is $799. It's a full frame lens too. 10mm full frame. That's nuts. All right, let's see here. 40mm f2.5 FE lens Viltrox coming soon, 2024. 35 is like a good focal length, but I don't see the point for 40mm personally. Like, it's just not a local focal length that I would use. What's your thoughts on that? Let me know. I feel like 40mm is just like that. I would just assume 50 with the more compression of a 50mm versus the wider angle lens there. That's just me. Back to the bottom here. We're working it backwards tonight. I don't know why. Let's see here. Chinese leaker guesses the possible Sony 24 camera roadmap. So let's look at this because if you follow my channel and my content, you'll see that I've been posting some stuff about the A6600 and the Alpha A6700. So more relevant to current times in a way. Obviously, if you're on video front, the 6700 is the way to go. If you're on a photography front, then I would stick with the 6600 for the heck of a savings. So this is a possible leaked thing. Has shared many correct info on Sony since releases the camera registrations. He's guessing the possible Sony revenue. So this is just all a guess, you guys. But anyways, we're going to see a ZVE 10 Mark II with the same sensor as the A6700. No mechanical shutter though. Now, see, that would make sense. The FX30 that I'm currently on right now doesn't have the mechanical shutter. It doesn't bother me any, but it's not a photo camera for me. I just don't use it for that. An A7 Mark V with a 49 megapixel sensor. Now, where does that leave the R? That'd be my question. Are we going to start seeing the 100 megapixel R cameras coming out in the following year? That's what that tells me. A6200. Okay, so they're going to wrap up the A6000 lineup with finally releasing the 6200. And what are we going to go to the 6150? We'll see what time tells. But the A6200 looks like it'd be a new entry level camera with probably the same as the IMX571 sensor that the FX30 and the A6700 have. So that makes sense. It would do that. A7S4. So that's it. That camera's due. And we're talking about a 40 megapixel new processor features. So 40 megapixel on a sensitivity camera. Let's focus on that for a moment. So if it is a 40 megapixel sensor, that means it's going to be 8K or even like a 9K capable with a downsample. So one of the interesting things I learned with the A1 when I was testing it at the Sony event in November was, even though it shoots 8K, it's just the HS format. So like the FX30 has HS for 4K, and then we have our XAVCS, and then the all-intra codec. And that all-intra codec is, of course, the top tier full least compression, I guess, codec. But the 8K had to have the HS codec to be able to I guess, use it. And I was able to just record it straight onto my UHS-2 card. So it wasn't requiring a Type A card to shoot it. But I would imagine an A7S4 with 8K capability, we're going to see an all-intra codec with 8K. And that camera would be what do you want to say, a newer, I don't want to word this. It's it'd be a newer high sensitivity 8K camera with all the bells and whistles to just blow anything else out of the water, I would imagine. We have an FX3 Mark II, 12 megapixel electronic, ND plus IBIS. Now, I saw something earlier. I was doing some research on this. The electronic ND, it is also going to be seen in some other cameras possibly. So that's definitely something coming. I think people would trade off the camera sizing for that because it's a huge, huge benefit in filmmaking to have that electronic ND in there. And I know there's plenty of times I would wish I had that ability more so than having to screw on the filters. I will say that. And then as for the A1 Mark II, it's more likely to be selling point together with new processor features. So maybe just an update, new body design like the A9 Mark III maybe, and just some simple things to it probably. All right, moving on. Sony A9 shipments start moving from February 23rd to February 21st. Shipment start moved from February 23rd to the 21st. Okay, so they're going to start hopefully shipping A9 Mark IIIs on the 21st. We've got here more sales. Holiday deals for Europe are ending. So this is something interesting. DJ Mic 2 will be announced on January 17th. I think I heard something about a new version of this coming out. Originally I tried to buy the DJI microphones for myself because it's the ones I wanted over the Rode Go 2s. I couldn't get them guaranteed to get them in time. I had them pre-ordered, but I didn't know I was going to get them in time for a job I needed them on. So I went ahead and bought the Rode Mark II or Rode Go 2s just because I needed something. And I've been happy with the Rode Go 2s. I've had very few issues with them for most of the things I'm doing with it. Sony A1 and A7S3 firmware update will bring many more features than you expect. So that's interesting. Let's see. Broaden your creativity. A1 breathing compensation to relay playback. That's also A7S3 breathing compensation and DCI 4K 24p. Okay, so the FX30 actually got the DCI upgrade, so it makes sense A7S3 would get that as well as breathing comp because they, like I said, the FX30 came out with that. Close out some of these dang ads. Jeez. Workflow enhancements and camera software update will be available in March 2024 or later. So they're working on it. If you guys are interested in that, it definitely keep your tabs out on that. I try to check for updates that randomly pop up every few months just to check all my gear. But yeah, so see what happens here. Oh, go back up here. Sorry, I'm flashing the screen around here on you. Let's see. The best-selling mirrorless camera on Amazon US is a Sony camera we didn't particularly love. What's this? Hold on 1 second. Oh, okay. Yeah, somebody's article. I'm not going to go into that. Scammer warning on Amazon Germany. Beware of that. Some new backpacks Ulanzi launched. These two new 22 and 35 liter bags. The best part of my job is when I can give you very good rumors from trusted sources. It has something to do with this lens. Please don't post it. So it comes in later here, or we'll get to it. So, curiosity, back in 2018, Alan Popescu already found first hints of global shutter info inside a Sony A9. A bug in the new firmware updated to the original A9. It was firmware 3.0 somehow messed with my settings in the FN button menu and showed the option angle setting I posted about here. A7S3 was not yet released back then, and I assumed it would be a camera with global shutter. What did I know that we had to wait 5 more years to see coming from the A9 Mark III? Funny fact one, maybe the programmer that released the firmware of the original A9 with this bug chose in the export instead of A9 firmware 3, he chose A9 version 3. Back then, Sony was Sony European Image Ambassador Romania, and after every published article and blog, contact directly from Sony Japan asked me kindly to take down the article. No explanation given. He said it's just a bug quickly to be fixed. I did that, but didn't delete it. Just unpublished from World Press. Today I found it again after a long search since I didn't remember exactly when it happened. Interesting. All right, here's some big news, guys. Yes, Sony will announce a new 85 GM Mark II in the spring. After exactly 8 years, Sony will finally update the current 85 f1.4. Two trusted sources told me this lens will be in stock by early summer. So 85 1.4 going to be updated, which usually means announcements will happen 1 to 2 months earlier. They didn't want me to share the specs of the lens, but unconfirmed rumors do suggest this to be a new 85 1.4 Mark II. It'll be optically much improved and slightly more compact. But there is a but. Super wild rumors I got speculated about possibility of a double 85 GM lens announcement. With the second lens being faster than the 1.4, but it's not coming from my trusted sources, so take that with a grain of salt for now. So, are we going to see a new 85 1.2? It would make sense that they would just knock them both out right at the same time. I mean, they've probably been working on them, obviously, but that would make sense that they would release them both at the same time, just to have them out there on the market. And you'd be able to pick which one you'd want. So you'd have a 50-1.2, an 85-1.2. Um, me, the 85-1.4 is more than enough. I would think if they can make it smaller and a little bit lighter, I'd be all about getting one of them. But my current 85 is perfectly fine for everything I do. It is noisy and autofocus, so if they made it a video centric lens that was quieter, that would be fantastic. Also, let's see, we're on page 2 now. Let's see what we got. I'll just work my way down. You can now buy a limited edition gold Hasselblad lunar E-mount camera for $4,000. So if you're into gold, you can get that. Let's see what else here. Some photographs. $100 off DJI. W did an A9III. Firmware update for your Sony flashes, 60 RM2 and the 46 RM. Adds full Sony A9III support. Adds support for the global shutter sync photography in the shutter areas. And A7C2 has been best-selling camera in December. That's interesting that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Sony cameras out of 10 spots here. We've got a ZF, second place. That's not surprising. The ZF, I think, is a very iconic camera that a lot of people are going to gravitate toward. I mean, it's an old mechanical style camera. Nikon Z8, the EOS R6, the Fuji, the Sony A7R5. Yeah. Hey, Roy, how you doing, bud? Good day. I should say that in my best Australian accent, but I'll leave that for you. How you doing, Roy? Going through some Sony news and open up a discussion about CES this year. All right, nothing else really to report there. And here's the final wild rumor roundup for the A6700R and an FX50. And now, it would stand to reason the A6700R and the FX50 are APS-C sensor cameras, so they're not full frame like the pictures suggest by the naming culture. All the 6700s have always been, or all the 6000s have always been APS-C. The FX30, FX50 obviously is, a guess. I have no idea who sent them, and 90% of the time they turn out to be wrong, but it happened in the past, and a couple of those were right. So I post them today. Source 1, A6700R coming in 2024. Source 2, a new FX50 you mentioned has the highest dynamic range of almost all Sony full frame sensors. It is a 35 millimeter, so that's going to be interesting that it's a 35 millimeter with the FX50 designation. Autofocus IBIS electronic variable ND. And that's what I mentioned before earlier that we're looking at electronic variable NDs on some of these newer cameras coming out. That's something people have been asking for. Same style body the Canon C70, but slimmer and lighter. Around $3,000 launch price, not the FX30 sensor. Higher dynamic range of at least 15. A cheap rival to the Arri Alexa and C70. And Source 3 says 2024 will be a video year with 2 major announcements. Even the lenses will be video oriented. Tell video people they will be satisfied. So there seems to be a huge trend in all social media right now that it's actually a bigger or more video stuff is happening more than photography these days. Like the hype of photography is over and it's all about video moving forward. Now, obviously, I have a video background in my hobby. I picked up photography to learn it and I got hooked into it and that got me back into video. Now, I still like taking pictures and editing some nice shots, but I'm definitely a video guy. Yeah, some tests, best-selling lenses, some sales, and R1 rumors downgraded from running are being stunning to average. So they're saying, and I've heard this before, that Canon was not going to have a global shutter, not going to have 8K, or have a resolution below 45 megapixels. So the Sony R1 having a global shutter is probably not going to happen. And I think Canon was going to wait on their global shutter tech, probably let Sony work out some of the kinks and bugs in it before they go dive into it. It didn't seem to hurt them by waiting on the mirrorless market, anyways. Warm here, 35 Celsius. Man, we are at a, let's see, I don't know what it's currently at. We've got a wind chill right now. It is 17 Fahrenheit here right now, with a real feel of -5 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's, um, well, I don't know what the conversion is on that top of my head. I know that -40, -40 are the same temperature. So about 70 degrees warmer from that. What are we at? No, your 0 degrees is freezing. So you're probably -10 on the Celsius scale here right now. It's cold. It's been cold. I've got heat lamps on some of my faucets because they're too cold. All right. So I think that was it for the Sony A9 rumors. So I'll jump out of here. All right. So yeah, it's gonna be cold here for a few days. We'll see how it goes. It's supposed to warm up in the middle of the week and then get cold again. Um, yeah. So have you followed CES at all? Have you been seeing what's coming out up there? It doesn't look like it's a big camera oriented event this year, and I'm kind of surprised, honestly, because I don't generally follow it, and I shouldn't say I haven't followed it this year. I've been just reading updates and reviews and what's out there. For a consumer electronics show, there seems like there's not a lot of consumer electronics stuff coming in from the Sony front. And while the technology they're presenting directly affects oh, excuse me, directly affects the consumer themselves, they're focusing more on their digital, um, their creation, their creators. They are focusing on the creators. The people that are photography or cinematographers, YouTubers, stuff like that. They're definitely spending time there, and they probably don't have a lot of new tech right now to release. That's why there's nothing really there to talk about. But they seem like they had a huge focus on the back end development of all that stuff, and showing what the future's going to hold, regardless of what the technology and the consumer products they offer for those individuals. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they didn't have, at least from what I've seen, I didn't go. They didn't have a lot of stuff that was just consumer electronics, like new cameras, new gear, new TVs. They said they had no TVs out there, so kind of interesting. Usually, that's the space I think they do that in. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, somebody's definitely focusing on putting their technology and their ability to have that tech into other technologies, and I think that's where they're putting a lot of their attention right now. But yeah, that's. I don't know if you followed it at all, or if you know anything about CES. Let me know what you think, or if there's anything new coming out that you like or you're excited for. Definitely let me know. Um, Even on B&H's website, there wasn't a lot of like high end tech that's coming out. It looks like oh my gosh, sinuses are going crazy. Um, there's like a lot of like I guess speakers coming out. I didn't really follow that, but um, Sony unveiled that car with Honda that it's just a lot of technology going into the automobile and for this self-autonomous and the way the cars kind of vision. And this is all stuff that, I kind of got a hint of back in Mercedes that they released when Mercedes started doing the tank thumbs up. When they started doing cameras in cars and that technology and how that was developed from back in the 80s. That's when they started doing that research to find a way to make cars see. So being that the car can in real time track and see its environment, uh, and give you a digital representation of that environment at the same time is impressive. One other piece of tech I saw there was in a piece of equipment. There was a clear touchscreen monitor, and there's the future right there. We've seen clear monitors or floating displays in movies for a number of years. I think people recreate them here in YouTube world, or you can have a touch panel in the air. Uh, that stuff's becoming reality now. So definitely interesting tech coming out. It always is advancing, and there's a huge emphasis on the AI aspect of it and you know, where does it end with AI? Are we going to reach a Skynet type point? That'll be the interesting part, I guess. The um, but yeah, if you got anything on CES, hit me up. Otherwise, I'm going to start updating on the studio. So, studio is still a slow process. We've got some progress made. I think I was on live once with the sign already over here. So that's there. I've got some lighting going on. I've got lots of different colored bulbs happening. I did get what do you call it? An Alexa in here that does all the automation for me. So that's been a big help for the lighting. So I can just tell it, what I want color wise. I've got it all pre-programmed, everything in there, the color. So I can say, what color I want the studio to be, turn off the lights, turn on the lights. Don't have, a whole lot set up yet, but it's getting there. All right, Roy says AI generated images are impressive, but still many early faults. Yeah, um, it's interesting how the images I've seen. Like I said, I haven't ever messed with it. I really don't want to mess with it. But I think it was on the other night. I think on Robert Silver's channel, they talked about who owns the rights to an AI image, and that was a pretty good conversation there back there a couple of weeks ago on his channel. But the the aspect of AI just, I don't know. It doesn't intrigue me as far as the hobby that I enjoy. So that's why I have no interest in like reaching out and figuring it out. There are definitely tools within AI that are very beneficial and time savers, and so much stuff anywhere I can save time in my own life is a huge benefit. So I get that aspect of it, but yeah, what point do we just stop being and we move one more step closer to that idiocracy movie? With everybody's just dumbed down. Where were all the engineers developing all their technology? It wasn't. It was probably AI. In that movie before AI was a thing. But you know, AI to me it's a cool tool. I like technology as far as what it's capable of doing, but it's getting to a point where it's going to make people lazy. And if you're good at your profession and you can do it manually, I think there'll be a huge value in that, where AI just won't be there. A camera technology years back was that the light field camera tech. I bought one of the cameras. I found it on Facebook for like $100, and I bought it. Ended up selling it because I just didn't do anything with it. But kind of wish I'd kept it just because it was an interesting camera. It was like it produced like a 2 megapixel image, but it recorded like a 48 megapixel file. And light field, yeah, it's light field. It measures the direction of the light coming into the lens, so you could change your focal point at any time in post. Um, so yeah, that was um, kind of a cool aspect. And as you watch that show on Amazon, the Expanse, that's what it's called. Um, they have a little floating drone camera that flies around, and records them like a cameraman. And the little overlay, they called it light field. So I thought that was interesting. They threw that in there on that show, um, looking ahead on the tech. But essentially, light field would allow an environment to be recorded, and it could predict light traveling or what direction, what would have been there had it not been blocked. So essentially, seeing around an object in an image. It's kind of interesting to watch, but go back and watch some of that stuff. Cameras are so good now; it's too easy already. Sometimes I long for the past. I agree with that statement right there. As technology moves forward, it does it moves further along, and it makes things easier. The day of spending your lifetime catching the perfect shot can be achieved by an amateur in the afternoon now. It's not lidar. Lidar is similar, but it was actually lidar is the AI aspect of measuring the scene for autofocus purposes and be able to see stuff, um, and be able to map out the image. Light field was the camera recorded the direction of the light coming into the sensor. And because it could record that direction, it could track the depth of field, and you could literally change the aspect of the depth of field. And the camera shot at a constant like F2, I think, when I had it, and it would. So the whole image was shot at f2, but you could set it to be a very shallow depth of field on just your subject, or you could set it, to a full depth of field of the image, and you could do all that work in post. So there was no aperture control in the camera; everything was shot at f2, and you had to have the post program, which I downloaded and had. I probably have the images somewhere in one of my hard drives, but let me see if I can find that camera. But light field it started getting popular in cinema cameras, and um, Lightfield Labs. Man, yeah, this is it. I don't know what they're doing now. Let's see if they talk about. Mm, let me just see if I can find the camera and show you that. Yeah, Litro Illume 40. Here it is. Okay, so let me share this. I wish I'd kept this camera. I sold it for like $100. I probably should have just kept the dang thing. Put this up here. Okay, so I mean these things were not cheap. They were $1,436. It was cheap. The camera wasn't cheap. It felt really nice. It's a large camera. Um, let's see, 40 megabray. So it didn't take a picture in megapixels. It took a picture how many rays of light it could record coming into the sensor. But the sensor was essentially I think a 2 megapixel image or something that it recorded. It's the only picture they have of the whole back of it was all screen with a big touch screen. It was a heavy camera, and of course the lens here, had the rings on it to adjust your zoom. Um, yeah, I found it for $100. I mean, I bought it just thinking, oh, that'd be cool, and then I messed with it for a while. I thought it was a really cool camera. I kind of wish I kept it, just throw it on the shelf because, like I said, I just ended up selling it for $100. Let's see if I can find another. Here's the Wikipedia on it. It was a plenoptic camera. It, it's a camera that captures the information with the light field emanating from a scene. That is, the intensity of light in a scene, also a precise direction that the light rays are traveling in space. This contrasts with conventional cameras, which record only light intensity at various wavelengths. Um, but elongated tube. I was thinking of the camera that looked like an elongated tube. Yeah, I'm not sure which one. Oh, yeah. This is it. Here, This is This is their first generation. The I had the second gen with the blue ring on it. Here, let me put this up on the screen. You're thinking of the right camera. It's the red elongated like square tube. There you go. Yeah, this guy, this elongated camera. This is what you're thinking of. Yeah, but essentially, yeah, you could change your depth of field on an image because it knew what everything was. Now, I think AI or not AI, LiDAR. Is it LiDAR? LiDAR is just a tool that's used to measure that distance. It's the like iPhone technology of how it looks at an image and just shoots it, and then you can pick and choose what's in focus or not. It's kind of like that. I don't know what do they call it in iPhones. Is it I don't know what do they call that? The iPhone photographer stuff. I can't remember. But yeah, it was very innovative. You don't see much innovation these days. No, innovation's always sometimes left in the dust by sales and what sells. People aren't always innovative in their mindset of what they want to. I mean, honestly, the $1,500. I think it was more than that for this Litro camera. Um, this Litro Loom second gen. This is the one I actually had. It was the second gen with the blue ring on it. Um, it it definitely had some limitations. Put it that way. It wasn't like, oh my god, it was cool technology, and I just wish I'd kept it just for the fact of what it was. Because I have a feeling we'll see something like this again in the future, but it kind of just disappeared. And I think somebody probably bought the company and just shelved the idea of it right now. Because some of the cinema cameras that they showed, I watched. I don't know if it was a YouTube video or one of their videos. They showed how it could read a scene and track all the data coming into the camera to a point of where it could predict what would be behind it. And there's some good videos out there. I'd click the camera just because it's so different. Yeah, that's essentially where I was at, and then I don't know. I felt like I needed $100 to help buy something, and I sold it. That's the way I am, and it's just sitting. So it's kind of like before my YouTube days when I had that camera. Though I bought it, it's been probably about a solid 5 years. I bet you I started YouTube after I got that camera, so that's probably why I didn't think to save it. Because right now I'm all about saving old camera gear, and that would have been definitely one I would have just kept for the money. I put it up on my shelf. But yeah, if you guys are interested, check out this light field stuff. It's uh, pretty cool stuff. I wonder. I'd have to dig up to my hard drives to find um, to actually find the data or the images I have, and of course find the program again. I'm sure it's out there. I have it saved, but it was a cool camera to mess with for a little while. So we got a couple people watching. So if you're out there and you're not Roy, say hi. Let's see here. I'm running out of things to talk about, Roy. I don't know. I came on and wasn't quite prepared for fully tonight. Sorry, I got to tab deal with family stuff. Understood, sir. Thanks for coming in, and I'll see you on the next one. I probably won't be on too long tonight. Kind of gone through my whole run of stuff. Just kind of hanging out here. Um, so I've got the 6700 videos done on the or the 6600 6700 videos done. The next one coming out will be on the value of that camera on the 6600 and whether or not it's worth buying. So check that out if it's something you're interested in. The the next episode of the studio space will be coming soon too. That's the desk build. I haven't decided how I'm going to do that video yet, but it's it'll be an interesting video. It'll be cool to showcase what this desk is that I built, and I think it's a cool idea. I look forward to sharing it with everybody, on that kind of platform. But um, a big crack right there. Huh. Finding all sorts of stuff. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I got, guys. I'm going to go ahead and just call it a night with 40 minutes on. That's not too bad. That much activity. I'm having things to talk about. I want to talk to you guys. So if you're here, say hi. If not, we'll be here on the next one. So with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night. So, see you later.